Hello humans, Master Dinnerflax here, bringing you the low quality content you deserve, and today I'm going to be going over Madolche with the new Pudding Incest. Now, this card is actually just unbelievably powerful. The restriction you can just ignore, because a lot of people forget that as long as you win the duel, it doesn't matter what restrictions you're under, it doesn't matter how many life points you have, none of it matters. Like, Tiramisu is better removal than most of the nightmares. Most of your links are worthless, because Tiramisu is better removal than Phoenix, Unicorn, in this deck, obviously, but like, you don't even need to worry about the restriction because you don't care. Like, this, and this is your extra deck with sometimes other cards, but very rarely. So let's get into it. 3 Pudding Cestware, I believe. Maybe not. It's pretty much a, I don't know how to describe it. But it's a hat tricker that summons a Madolche from your deck. So that's pretty cool. Then we got Madolche. This one card lets you go +4 because of this card. You just normal summon this, search this, summon this, search Angeli, tribute it, summon this, banish Angeli, summon this, get a search. It's just like, there's so... It's like a gadget deck at this point. That's why I called it Madolche Stun, is because one card can get you so far ahead that you just like... The only other cards in your deck, you don't need other cards in your deck. It's like so airtight that you can just fill your deck with trap cards or hand traps or whatever and do the same thing. But the thing is, you don't want to fill your deck with hand traps because you want to keep your graveyard empty. I'm going to explain why soon. 3 Angeli, this card is also, like, these 3 cards are complete starters. They literally get you to your entire deck. And this one is kind of the same way. You just need to get something in your graveyard first. So that's like 12 starters. And then if you have too many monsters, this is like a 13th monster. Next, we got 2 Messenger Lotto. There are actually situations where I could summon the 3rd if I had a 3rd copy and search a 3rd card because of how this deck functions. It's actually insane. Like, you just go plus so hard and you just put so many monsters on the field. Yeah, it kind of sucks that they can only be Madolches, but the thing is, this card wouldn't have been made if it didn't have that restriction. I'm just gonna be frank. It's why the Phantom Knight thing is restricted to not being able to link summon with it. They're very done of accidentally making generically too powerful links and too powerful cards, so they're starting to put restrictions on archetype specific ones. So yeah, 2 Messenger Lotto, just it searches all your spells and traps, and there's a lot of them in here actually. And we got Mew Fleur Bleu, and it's Marauding Captain, but it's important because it's a beast. For Messenger Lotto. And then we got 1 Pudding Cest. So, if you're in a situation where you need to Tiramisu, you actually need it to be Pudding Cest because this reduces the level of what you summon. And like, so you'll summon Pudding Cest as a level 4 and that'll just be that. Which is also interesting because it lets you rank up into this while still having its, Pudding Cest name. So yeah, but not to mention Pudding Cest itself works in conjunction with a card I have in here, and finally, it's actually just a pretty decent card. I actually, like, attacking and popping a card has actually been useful a lot of times. Not to mention you can make Durandal with Instant Fusion with this card. As you can see, I'm not playing Brilliant Fusion, just because it adds so many bricks. You gotta put Clowns in your deck, and a Garnet, and 3 Brilliant Fusion. And I'd rather, like, you already get to everything in your deck immediately, and you can't do anything with the Seraphonite because it's not a Madolche. So you're actually locked out of your turn if you even draw this. So, like, I couldn't do Brilliant Fusion. There was no way I could get it to synergize with the rest of the deck like it used to. So we got double Chateau, double Ticket, 3 double Summon. As much as I want to play Brilliant Fusion, it's not possible, so we just stick with this. Kind of unfortunate. 2 Instant Fusion. This kind of conflicts again with her, but at the same time, it also just gets you an extra body when you need it. Then 2 Called by the Grave. You obviously can't play Soul Charge Reborn in this deck because everything puts itself back in the deck, so there's no need for those. Now for the traps, okay, so every Madolche spell and trap is searchable with Messengelato. So this one is interesting. I use it a handful of times, but it's it's like just a Soul Charge from your hand of all your Madolche monsters, which actually happens a lot because this returns all your destroyed Madolches to the hand instead of the deck, and this searches whenever a Madolche is returned from the hand or deck. So you'll actually accumulate a big hand, and if you do that on your next turn that you need to, you can just Palooza out all of them and kind of like break their board and kill them, which is important. Now this one is spicy. So it's Madolche Knights. It's a counter trap that you can only activate if you have no monsters in your graveyard, which is fine. This is Madolche. That's what they do. You negate the activation of a monster effect. You don't destroy it. Now that seems terrible, and in all honesty it is, but like I said, this is searchable and recyclable. And so like the big thing about this is that it's a card. It's a Madolche card that immediately puts itself in the graveyard with 4 Tiramisu, which is huge, and then you recycle it to search it again, which is like, I actually use that utility a lot. And I haven't even mentioned the most important part. So in a lot of these fields you're making, you're usually ending with Pudding Cess, and if you activate this while you control Pudding Cess, you shuffle a random card in your opponent's hand into the deck. So then, it's a counter trap that went from Breakthrough Skill to Breakthrough Skill and, I guess, somewhat Forceful Sentry, which is actually really, really good. They have another one, but it's awful. It's literally Goblin Attack Force that's a Regeki break. I mean, not Goblin Attack Force. Goblin out of the frying pan that's Regeki break, and that's awful. Like, you don't want to return spells and traps to the hand ever. That's worthless. And we got 3 Gozen Match. Everything you make is Earth, no exception. 3 Infinite Impermanence. It's a hand trap that is also a trap, so very good. And then the Solemn Brigade. Extra deck, if it's not a Madolche, it actually doesn't matter, except the instant fusion targets. You kind of want to keep Earth, obviously. So, yep. That's about it. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. And yeah, I actually am really liking this deck. It works much better as a stun deck than I thought it would. Because the only thing you do is you just spam out a bunch of monsters that are beefy with the field turn 1. And you just set a bunch of trap cards. And it's weird. It's like, if you ever played Gadgets back in the day, it kind of feels like that, where it's just this you're gaining this constant snowball of cards while your opponent has to fight through your traps, and usually they can't because not only are you setting 1 or 2, but you're searching one of them as well. So, yeah, that's about it. Thank you all for watching, and remember, Master Dinnerflex will take your soul.